All right. Well, my name is David.
I'm Nick.
And we host Bucks and Brews, which is a financial podcast that we come on and we talk about different financial subjects while we drink beer.
Hey, I'm Mike. Welcome to Podcast Diaries. These are the stories of podcasters who feel alone, just like you. Well, hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Well,
Good.
I was running behind, and then, before we started this, we were talking.
Yeah.
This is the moment to relax. I was
Yeah.
running behind. I normally try to get here by 6. I think I showed up at 6:10, and I'm running upstairs with my case of beer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
David's got my glass out. He's ready for me, and he's like, "Let's go."
So how long have you guys been doing your show?
So when the pandemic hit, this is probably normal for a lot of podcasters. When the pandemic hit, Nick and I were used to getting together every month or two talking money.
Right.
What are you doing that's new? What hot stock tip do you have? What new real estate you're buying, whatever. And we couldn't do that, obviously, because everybody was locked in place.
Sure.
So I'd said to him, I'm like, what about hopping on Zoom for like a couple hours one night?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, it sounds great. So I put it out there on Facebook, and I had a coworker of mine that joined us for that first one. And hell, we had to talk 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Didn't record it because we were just doing it to have fun.
Sure.
So Nick and I talked, and we're like, I think we had some really good information. Maybe we should record that and just, throw it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that for, I don't know, 5 months maybe. By September-ish, we had decided, okay, I think this should be a podcast. So I talked to an artist friend of mine, I sent Nick like 3 different names.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved Bucks and Brews. So I talked to an artist friend of mine who came up with our logo.
Mm-hmm.
Made a website, joined a podcasting service, and really the rest is history. We have over 124 episodes that we've done.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
We take breaks at times, like, we were talking a little bit ago about when I tried to die. We didn't do a whole lot of episodes the summer of 2021 because,
Gotcha.
I was trying to recover.
Sure.
And there are other spots here and there where, we might only record a couple episodes every 6 weeks, but for the most part, we're weekly.
Yeah. We try. I mean, like every podcast starting up, right? And the first thing that came into our mind just a couple weeks in, I was planning a pretty big vacation. So I was like, hey, we should probably do 2 of them to have one just in case. And then
Mm-hmm.
literally that bit us right in the butt 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're like, we're out. Crap. We can't, we just can't keep up with making sure we get one out every week. So
Yeah.
it's been a fun couple of years.
Do you guys do the recording, editing, everything?
We don't believe in editing.
Gotcha.
We really
Sure.
don't.
Sure.
We do everything. My edits are very quick. I cut out the dead air at the beginning. I cut out the dead air in the end, and
Yeah.
I've cut a few things here and there. So we also do a kids episode, which we try to keep to about 10 minutes, and we call it Pops and Pennies.
Really?
Yeah, and I cut a few things out of there just, because we're trying to keep it as close to 10 minutes as possible. And sometimes
Sure.
Nick and I love to go off on long tangents.
Mm.
Yeah. Our average episode is probably 2 hours.
Really? Wow.
On a normal basis.
And if we're having fun like last Thursday,
oh my gosh,
they go about 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Okay.
we could have kept going.
So one of the things I ask these folks when I talk to them, like yourself, I ask them what their motivation is to keep doing it. And it sounds like to me that it's the friendship and the time that you get to set aside.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah. And I say, like, our episodes are so, I want to say customer focused, but listener focused, right? I'm pretty big on Facebook. David will do a little bit, he'll do some Facebook, but he'll do Twitter and LinkedIn and all these types of things. And we ask, hey, what do you want to know, right? And so if anybody gives us an answer, man, we fill that in. And so we've done some Dave Ramsey-esque shows, right, where we get people to talk about their debt, and then we've had people on 3 times talking about, hey, I was here. This is the advice I took. This is where I'm at, and then here's the next step, right?
Yeah.
We're doing those types. So really, it's being able to see people succeed off of the advice. We did a real estate episode that I gave pat on the back, right? Some of the best advice I've given, and they took 90% of it and nailed it, right? Like
Bought a house within like 6 weeks.
yeah, within 6 weeks, and
When-
got out of their lease without
When
That
you
they had
say-
just re-signed.
When you say they and their, who are you talking about?
our viewers, our listeners, and things
Okay.
like that. Yep. So any, it could be our friends on Facebook. It could be
Sure.
people off of Reddit. It could be so many different things.
Yeah.
So, we post. Hey, we're looking for. I have an idea of I want to own a food truck. Well, what better way to figure out if I want to own one than interview one? So
Yeah.
anybody know an owner of a food truck, and we have them on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What a
it's
great approach.
Yeah.
One of the things that Nick and I have always been passionate about is helping people.
Uh-huh.
So we've coached together. I've been a high school softball coach for 12 years. I've coached youth sports for over 20.
Okay.
And him and I are always really passionate about just bringing our knowledge to people. We don't know everything, but we know a lot of things.
Sure.
And if you want to learn, we're happy to sit there and tell you the things we know.
Or try to find a professional that knows it.
Right.
Right.
So you bring guests on as well, like people that maybe know something you don't.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
So one of our favorite episodes, we talked about valuation with Bharat Kanodia, who's he's got a pretty big following on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And we just sat there trying to learn everything we could from him on valuation. He did a valuation on the U.S. National Park Service.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we were just blown away at how cool that was.
Right. I have change in my pocket right now, and we had a guy talk about coins. We don't know anything about coins or bills or anything. And actually, it's funny. I was going to tell David. I was going through a $50 roll, and I finally landed an $18 coin or a $22 coin, whatever. I had to figure it out. So right off of having this, I'm like, man, I finally nailed one. So yeah.
Wow, that's nice. That's nice. So, any successes in the kids episodes?
Lots.
Really?
Lots. So we have one viewer that's pretty we put out one, and they're like, hey, my son wants to know about this, and my son wants to know about this, and so it's really awesome with that. Having a 7-year-old myself, Bucks and Brews is great. I love it as who we are, but we came up with Pops and Pennies. So now my daughter loves to go to school with pins with my face on it.
Oh wow.
And so we have stickers, we have all these things, and so
Sure.
my goal would be, I would love to see it where, gosh, if I could take this and go into schools and teach kids how to do this. But we've had a professional youth, financial person come on.
Yeah.
DeAndre was great. And so we really do. The success that we see is the feedback that we get.
Sure.
I can't tell you if the parents are sticking with it or anything like that.
Sure.
But the feedback that we're getting and the things that we're constantly getting asked, I would say we're being successful in it.
Well, we get really excited when they ask about specific things. So
Yep.
this specific viewer goes, hey, my son wanted to know how Meyer is able to buy everything in the store without actually just handing over a bunch of money all at once. And we're like, yeah, that's a great subject. And we took it on for, I don't know, we probably talked 9 minutes on how stores buy merchandise.
Yeah.
And and then they were interested in buying stocks, and we talked about individual stocks isn't the greatest of ideas type thing, but unless you're doing it as a kid and you're planning to hold it for a long period of time, then go for it. Like, have fun. Don't try to pick which is the greatest. Just pick one and have fun with it.
Right.
So
right. So you guys, you kind of alluded to a little bit of it, but what do y'all do in the real world?
So I'm an analyst at a healthcare organization, the largest employer in the state of Michigan. I also am a co-owner of my wife's rage room that she has here where people come in and break stuff.
Yeah.
I coach high school softball. I co-host a podcast with this guy. I have my hands in a lot of things.
Sure.
Career wise, so I'm retired. No, I'm self-employed in real estate.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, I'm a landlord flipper. I mean, if it's kind of real estate focused, I'm in it or around it in some way.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, I I don't do large commercial. Like I don't own a Walgreens, triple net leasing yet.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
actually, one of my goals this year is to buy some billboards or cell phone towers.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So-
do you think it's the state you live in and knowing it really well, and like the surroundings? Is that where you're the most like I guess I should ask a question. So living in Michigan,
Mhm.
are you from there also?
We are.
Okay.
Well, David's from Chicago area.
I was born in Chicago, but I was raised in Southwest Michigan, and
Okay.
Nick was raised in West Michigan, and we're both located
Okay.
in West Michigan now.
So, do you think you're taking like local knowledge and using that to your advantage?
In some instances, yes.
Yeah.
But in other instances, I mean, Nick is very much self-taught. So
Mhm.
he started doing real estate when he was 18 years old.
Wow.
So you've been doing it what, like that's about 16 years now?
Something close.
I have a degree in finance, so it was always a passion of mine.
Right.
And where I really started was my daughter had some money when she turned 18.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I started investing what she had, and I kept paying all of her bills. And I did that for probably 5 or so years because I wasn't able to save when I was younger enough money to just pay for her college.
Yeah. Sure.
So when we got to the point where she was going to college, she did community college, and I was able to pay for that.
That's great.
So she took money she made from working and I helped her invest it in different avenues, and she's probably got between all of her accounts around $60,000 of net worth,
Wow.
which does not include the condo she bought all by herself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do you feel like the podcast almost sounds like it's a like I can't think of anything but religion, but it's almost like a driving force in your life, right? I mean, it's a reason for doing what you do.
I mean, I
Okay.
can't say that for me, right? Because I do a bunch of real estate meetups.
Okay.
Example is I do a bunch of meetups. I've always been a giver, right? I give so much knowledge, and I had a friend call me out, and he's like, "Hey, man, when are you going to buy something from one of these guys? Like, ask a wholesaler to bring you a deal." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Look, you get all these new people that come to you, and you get all these people that come to you and ask you for advice and ask you for this, and you give them hours of time for a beer at a time. When are you actually going to ask for something for yourself?" And I was like, "Huh."
Right.
So then I started making it a goal to be like, "Hey, I want to talk to wholesalers to make sure I'm on your list to do this." So we don't do the podcast for it. It doesn't force us to continue. It's just who we are as people. I mean,
Gotcha.
It really
Gotcha.
kind of is. And I mean, a lot of what our podcast has become is, we said it in the beginning, a therapy session.
yeah,
We probably tackle mental health issues
four times a year.
4 or 5 times a year because, I mean, we're battling our own issues, and we're honestly an open book. I mean, we don't hide anything from literally anybody. If they ask, we're going to give an honest opinion or feedback or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, right. There's few things that you have to ask, but we'll give you the answer to, right? I'm not just gonna walk out and
Offer it.
right. But if it's free knowledge that we've found, yeah, we're gonna give it all day. And I was, we talked about it when I first started this real estate thing. I wrote my first lease on a lined piece of paper. Okay, like people have no idea how stupid I was and am, right? Like it took somebody else to give me a lease to say, hey, this is what it should look like, and so somebody else's knowledge taught me that. Why wouldn't I give that same knowledge to the next person? Because hey, you're gonna be one door more successful than I was because you didn't make those mistakes right away. granted, I got my out of mine pretty easily, but
Yeah.
you know, our goal is to give everybody in all different realms as much knowledge. And you know, there's certain episodes, gosh, like the coin one, the coin one we studied for a little bit. There was a couple other ones. Like we get some random people that want to be on, or you know, we talk to, and then we'll start studying their type of a thing. And we're like, yeah, let's do this.
Mhm.
We haven't done an episode, for an example. We know nothing about Bitcoin or
Okay.
right cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've looked into it quite a bit, but like we want to get a professional that actually knows what they're doing and knows how to mine it. You know, we don't want to
Right.
just get the person that's rich off of it. We want to get the person that can tell me what it actually is. So,
Right. Right.
you know, and it's fun for us to learn that stuff too. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we also do it to to fatten our pocketbooks, which you know we make so much money off this podcast.
Well, you know, the other thing that's nice with us is we both come from very different backgrounds. Nick grew up poor.
Very.
I grew up upper middle class,
Okay.
then became poor.
Yeah.
And we both dug ourselves out of the poor.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't say we live comfortably, but we live okay.
I mean, I can drink Bud Light once a week.
And that's what it's all about, right?
It
So
is.
one of the questions I've got two more questions for you guys, and then I'm gonna
Sure, please.
let you do your thing. But thinking about new podcasters, or maybe podcasters that are doing it and they feel kind of alone, or they feel like they're just talking to no one. What's your best advice to get to 124 episodes?
I think you really need to know what you're doing this for.
Okay.
So some of our episodes we've had 5 people listen to,
Yeah.
and I can't say we don't care,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we don't care.
Right.
I mean, we're putting the information out there. If they want to listen to it, great. For the most part, our episodes entertain Nick and myself. We have a buddy that joins us quite often on the episodes because he's looking, you know, to also learn whatever we're talking about. His name happens to be Mike.
Right.
When he's not on an episode, he'll listen back and give us his feedback on, hey, you know, that episode was really good.
Yeah.
And that's really all we're looking for. So you know what you're looking for, and then tailor yourself to that. Because if you're just looking to make a ton of money off a podcast, that's a long road.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I say my other advice to get through it is right. You know, we didn't start this journey trying to get rich. So for us, it's have a passion for what you're talking about, right? You know, if you know, the guy we talked to last week, they do a Marvel podcast, and gosh, David and him and all them, like he dresses up as a Star Wars character, right? Like these
I
guys
do.
are so passionate about this thing. And so that's going to make you go on forever. You could talk about something that you could talk about for days, right? If I did a solo podcast, and I would talk about some money, but like it would be real estate, because I mean, I literally probably go to 20 meetups. That's not, my wife will tell you it's 100 meetups a month, but like I go to these meetups and I'm there for hours upon hours, and she's like, how do you just talk about this all the time? And I'm like, it's my life. It's my business,
Yeah.
right? Like
It's your passion. Yeah.
right. You know, what used to be bowling, you know, has turned into real estate. So one of them makes money and the other one's just a hobby.
Sure.
So,
So,
right, so like if you're down and thinking, hey, no one's listening,
yeah.
you have to stop worrying about if people are listening and do it for yourself.
Well,
Right?
Yeah.
not to go off on a tangent like we like to do, but we had an episode 3 weeks ago, and somebody hopped onto Twitch watching us, and literally this young person, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl,
Mm-hmm.
was talking about being suicidal.
Mm.
And we switched the entire episode to making sure that they were okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we ended up getting their email and reaching out even more. And then
Yeah.
they joined us on another episode. And
That's great.
you know, we talk, and so like to us, that's a victory, right? Like find that
Yeah.
victory. I mean, you know, it's funny because everybody made fun of us, because I remember going home to my wife and we jumped on TikTok.
Yeah.
And TikTok, you can send gifts, right?
Sure.
And somebody sent us a penny. And I shit you not, David and I were the happiest people, right? Like
It's
we-
immediate feedback. It's immediate feedback. It's
It is,
approval
right.
by an audience, right?
You know, we also do it for the beer sponsorships, which Bud Light,
Has not
Bush
come
has
through with.
still not come through. I keep drinking it open.
Dust Brewery
Yeah.
gave us a 6-pack.
You know, we've had quite a bit of local brewery sponsorships. We've had quite a few sponsorships from people. And our it's awesome to have that type of a thing. So like
Right.
we're at a point, I guess, where we get that, but really do it for yourself. I mean, that's whatever your podcast is about. I mean, there's a million different themes, but
Sure.
do it for you and hope that the world will love it, right?
So what is different from episode 1 to episode 1? What'd you say? 124?
Yeah. I guess we're a little more polished. Honestly, it's two big guys that like to drink beer and talk about things they know.
Right.
And we know money, so we talk about it.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to join us and we don't know about what they have, we're going to sit there and ask a million questions. Nick will have a piece of paper next to him. For example, when Brent was on talking about coins, he wrote down 20, 25 questions that we just didn't have time to get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we don't do pre-written questions. We come up with them because we want it to be more
Spontaneous.
fun, right? Say more fun, and just we want to know who the real you is, right?
Right.
And then so I would say from the beginning we had the first, I don't know, few episodes that we knew what we were talking about those weeks. Now the difference is we don't.
We show up and we're like, hey, what do you want to talk about today?
Yeah.
Or what's going on. So, but I would say, adding a few things to know, hey, we need to when to wrap it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Is kind of a thing that we've done well at. Again, we will talk, as you can see, this is going on forever.
Sure.
We will talk your ear off.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of going, all right, hey, we're running out of questions. It's time to get it done.
So, easy question here. Tell me about your setup, like equipment, software. Where are you going out to? All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we have microphones and headsets. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Things you should know when it comes to this podcast. David is really the podcast guy.
Okay.
Nick just shows up and talks.
I'm here for the voice.
You're the talent. Yeah, I got it. Sure.
We have a Zoom H8 recorder that we use.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the headphones or the microphones.
Mayano.
Mayano.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Mayano to you too, sir.
We upload the episodes to Podbean and let it go out from there.
Okay.
So we're on all the services. We upload the videos to YouTube. So if anybody wants to look at our very handsome faces, they can.
You said something about Twitch earlier. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we decided to start broadcasting live on Twitch while we're doing our thing because, again, we don't edit anything. So, honestly, we in 120 some odd episodes, we've only had one that probably should never be seen again. And, unfortunately, that was live on Twitch.
Yeah, that's like, but no, we don't edit. But on that one, we did nothing wrong. Our guest
was
overindulged,
very overindulged.
Gotcha.
And it was before we really started, which made it even more fun. And out of respect for him and the company that he has and stuff, sure, the few people that joined us live for that got to see it, but they, it's we're not that big where it's going to harm anybody in a sense.
Right.
We just haven't put it out, and we talked about it real quick because we're like, well, we don't hold anything back, but out of respect,
we're not gonna put that one out there.
So last question, and you guys have alluded to this, but I'm gonna ask you one more time because maybe there's something else that comes up. What does success as a podcaster look like?
Feedback.
Engagement.
Right. Yeah. So that's at this moment, right? It's any bit of any appreciation, notoriety, being noticed, somebody that can see my logo, somebody that gets excited. Like, I love the fact that my daughter's excited about the fact that I'm on a pin, right?
Yeah.
She has no idea what I technically do.
Right. Sure.
Say, just the viewers giving input. Like if I ask a question, somebody actually takes interest and wants to learn that, it gets my heart running. I'm like, oh man, this person wants to know what a savings account is. David, let's go. And like to us, it's hey, it's a savings account. It does this, but like we're gung ho as crap to teach you about this.
Yeah.
Well, I think success is, Danny and TJ buying that house.
It's huge.
I mean, they listened to what Nick had to say, and 6 weeks later they bought a house. It's Vanessa sitting down with me and opening all of her financial history and paying off 2 huge bills within 18 months. Now she's still got a ways to go, but that's huge.
Well, I was saying getting rid of the credit cards, and has one left that we know of, right? I mean, we'll get an update, but in our opinion, we're not going to put all of her stuff on, but like, right? We asked if she wanted to do an update.
Yep.
And her response was, "I've been to Texas 5 times." Like, I'm not mad at you, but like without the stuff that you did and the steps you took, you would have never been able to go to Texas.
Very true.
Right?
Yeah.
You would have been, and so like that's success to us. Like you don't always have to go rolling downhill forward. As long as you don't go into any more debt and you come back and you're grinding away at this, like that's success, right?
What's amazing to me, and I've interviewed, I don't know, probably 30 different podcasts at this point, right? I would say maybe 3 or 4 of them mentioned making money.
Really?
Yeah. And it's amazing to me that that's all you hear about, right? You hear about, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to get rich. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get sponsors and things like that. In my circle, at least, that's what I hear, right? But what I've experienced is that most folks do this because they love it. Mm-hmm. And if you love it and you're consistent with it for long enough, you're going to outlast a lot of people, and you're going to make a lot of friends, and you're going to be successful. So whatever success means to you, which is different. And you guys, you're almost on a mission, right? To save people from themselves financially. And I think that's fantastic. The fact that you can see visual evidence of what you're putting out into the universe, I think that's huge. And I congratulate you. I congratulate you on that, because that's a hell of a mission.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I want to add, it's not just saving people from that, it's also getting them to that next level. Like, David's kind of more of an anti-Ramsey because
you don't do the yell?
Because they're the debt-free. It's not like we have people that are debt-free that are. I mean, one of our first people, multi-millionaire, probably, right? But probably, we just gave so many other advice of like, hey, IRAs for this, do this, like we took their let's just say they were a millionaire now, or then they're 2 to 3 now, right? Because hey, we're diversified, we're going across the board. There's so many more options than just set it here. So, and it's all about the scales in itself. Like, we've had the poorest of poor to the richest of, well, not the richest of rich, but we'll have it someday.
Yeah.
Well, and at the end of the day, we say it all the time: know what type of investor or financial person you are, and tailor yourself to that. Ramsey works for a lot of people because it's a simplified way to get out of debt.
Sure.
When I talked to Vanessa about her debt, I said, well, let's just knock off the lowest stuff. And she goes, no, I don't care about a small win here or there. I want to get rid of the big stuff that has a high interest rate. Mm-hmm. And you don't meet many people that are willing to put in that kind of work. Mm-hmm. And she just jumped at it.
Yeah.
And,
that's amazing.
So it's seeing that. Yeah. I mean, really taking, and Ramsey's so in our realm, right? So Ramsey is so anti-credit card, which I'm not a credit card guy.
Right.
But David is so much about this credit card hacking thing, and he's willing to put in the effort of pay this to do this, the penny, and you get these miles, and it's awesome. It's great. To me, it just sounds like too much work for what it's worth. Granted, I'd pay for 3 trips a year if I actually did it. but I don't.
Yeah.
Capital One paid me $1,050 last year to use their credit card.
Like that's
Wow.
insane. That's insane.
That's
And I'm one of
wonderful.
those guys that I track everything. I have a huge spreadsheet
Yeah.
that has everything.
And between the
Yeah.
two of us, like I probably spend
You spend way more money than I
like
do.
5 times,
Yeah.
if not more, more than you.
And imagine how much money you could have.
Right,
if you were-
like to say, I think last year, I honestly, if I had to put a number on it, like in materials alone, fudge, like $700,000
Wow.
just in materials.
Yeah, and times that by 0.015. That's what you would have gotten.
Right. Say, well, and we talk about it. Like I don't do the rebates for Menards.
Oh
Like,
my, drives my wife nuts.
Well, gentlemen,
Right.
I will tell you this: you've picked up a new listener in me, and I will.
We appreciate
I
it.
will be following you guys, and I am very happy to know you now, and I hope that you continue with your success, and I think helping one person is enough, right? And you guys have helped many, so
thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
doing.
much, Mike.
Thanks for doing what you do. I appreciate it, and I think this will be very encouraging to a lot of folks.
Thank you.
Good.
And sorry, I know that you're finishing, but I want to real quick.
Yeah.
Things that are awesome for us as well. Like we talked about, an artist friend gave us the design work. We're not artists. He created this.
Sure.
We now have an intro for music
We do.
from another friend that's like, hey, I want to build a theme song for you guys.
MLVC.
I did. So Slide Bass Bobby and DJ Gweed, right?
That-
like
Very good.
nailed it. Right, so like like those gifts mean so much to us, and like
Yeah.
that'll get you so far. I mean, we get so proud to put our shirts on.
We
Greg,
do.
as often as I'm proud to forget mine, but we have glasses. We have and so it's awesome. That's who we are.
We
That is-
enjoyed the merch because we just like seeing our faces
Right.
on things.
That's
And-
super
and-
cool. Yeah.
Even if it's your mom, listening, she'll give you some feedback. And say,
And she does.
for us, anytime we get a case of beer, we're the happiest freaking people.
Well, gentlemen,
We can be bought very easily.
do this for me. Say your names one more time and the name of your show and where they can find you.
Sure. I'm Nick.
And I'm David, and we are Bucks and Brews. You can find us on all your podcasting services or www.bucksandbrews.com.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so
Thanks
much, Mike.
Check out more Podcast Diaries and plenty of other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. If you have a story to tell, reach out to us. info@roguemedianetwork.com. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.